You talked about what your perception is when the president announced that he'll be setting up an advisory committee for the national conference. But tell us, do you see the need for a national conference? Not now or, before now, but do you think that we need a national conference?
Yeah, you need to.
As a country.
Thank you. That's a very useful question. You need to cast your mind back to how did this whole thing begin? When did we begin this agitation for national conference? How did it start? We had an election in 1993. I mean, where the Constituent Assembly I told you of, eventually gave us a constitution, the 1979 Constitution, and we practiced that for about 4 years, and afterwards, it was truncated by military rule, and later on, the military felt that, look, let's hand power back to civilians. And on June 12, 1993, Nigerians went to the polls and they voted. They voted away from our traditional primordial, ethno-religious lines. I remember then the late Chief MKO Abiola won in his opponent's local government. Tofa's local government in Kano, Abiola defeated him there. So it couldn't have been that did not want Abiola. And even within the military, I remember then Colonel Abubakar Umar resigned his commission from the Nigerian army on account of the annulment of June 12. So it could not have been that the North did not want Abiola, but that a tiny cabal that had taken it upon itself that they should determine who should be should be governing us at any instantaneous time, annulled that election. Now that annulment brought about that incipient agitation for self-determination. People now ask questioning that why should it be now that somebody from another region has won an election that that election was now annulled. So that's started that agitation.
What you're doing right now is tracing it back to, when the Sovereign National Conference began, and you're saying that it is in tandem with the call for balkanization. Self-determination oftentimes goes with the call for having your own, autonomy and possibly your own sovereignty at the same time as well, right?
No, don't get me wrong. Now, I was just trying to trace the history of how we now came to the point. Now, when Sovereign National Conference is mentioned, the nuanced belief is that they mean balkanization. But that is why people like Governor Aliyu, Babangida Aliyu, have also been talking that, well, the North can still survive. Even if Nigeria...
Yeah, but the question is... Sorry, Sulaiman, just a moment.
Yes.
The question is, do you see the need for a sovereign national conference or a conference for Nigerians to just come and sit down? I mean, aside what has been announced, did you ever see the need for this country to have that conversation?
The need has always been there. The need, we knew that the need, like I told you, started coming more into the fore after the annulment of June 12. But...
And you understood the need then?
Now, wait. Now, Mokwe, you know something. When the military were trying to give back power to the civilians in 1999, you will see something, and I'm going to mention 3 instances for us to know that without a conference, Nigeria is an inherent ability and power within the Nigerian people to rally around and fight injustice. When the military was trying to give us power back in 1999, Nigerians knew it was clear that an election in Southwest at that time was not feasible, and they knew it. They knew that, look, a Southwesterner should, I mean, as it was just fair to pacify, to placate the people in Southwest. And what happened? 2 Southwesterners, which had never taken place in this country. It was like the whole of Nigeria agreed that, look, let's start this whole thing from Southwest. Even Ogbonnaya Onu, who was APP, presidential candidate, stepped down for Chief Olufalaye at that time. That's number one. Number two was at the time that the derivation was 7% then. But with the degradation of the environment in the south, in the Niger Delta, Nigerians came together again and said that, look, the people in the region, in fact, the region where you are getting the oil, should have more in terms of, making them to, putting back into that environment so that, the environment will improve a bit. That derivation was improved and increased to 13%.
Your point is that, are you saying that you do not see the reason for a national conference anymore? The thing you need to ask yourself is that when you are going, the national conference is a project. What is your final deliverable when you have a project? For this particular project now, what is the people bringing together this conference? What do they want to achieve?
Let me comment here, because I actually thought we could actually rejig this and connect it in a way. If the intention that has come out of people like yourself and some other party members, as well as some Nigerians, that the intention is fraught with so many underlines, can't we cash in on the opportunity that it is provided for us to talk, just the way we're talking now? Let's say the intention is something, there's some kind of sinister intention attached to it, but now you have an opportunity to talk, isn't it? So your party and people from your own region and people from so many other parts of the country can as well cash in on this and redirect it, just in case where it is headed now is not the destination point.
Well, taking it from the direct question that Mope was asking, that do you see the need for a national conference now or any other time? The need to talk has always been there. You see, what you need to quite get clear is when in 1787 the Americans gathered in Philadelphia, in a convention to look at the Articles of Confederation, of the American state, with a view to having a good big center. Their intention was coming up with a constitution. And the constitution was finally enacted after going round the state in 1789. And that time brought about the installation of the first American president. Since that time, there had not been any need to say that, hey, come, let's talk again. Because what is your talking about? Is it to start another constitution? The best practice all over the world, when you look at that constitution that you are operating, and you find out that it's not good, what has always been done is amendment. As at 29th of March, 2013, that same American Constitution had gone through 29 amendments. That American Constitution of 1789 was not perfect because it did not even give the white woman the right to vote. It was not until 1920 that the American white woman, I didn't say black woman, the American white woman had right, after their 19th amendment, that the American white woman had the right to vote.